It's Steelers 365 at TribLive.com with Super Steeler Mike Logan. I'm Ken Laird, all brought to you by Eastern H2O, a performance sports store in the Fox Chapel Plaza. Check them out at EasternH2O.com. You got skis and snowboards, get them all waxed up, get them ready to go, and they've also got special reactor watches with the Never-Dark technology right in the shop for you there. Steelers back at the home shop yesterday, Mike Logan, and perhaps the worst loss at home, worst non-New England Patriots loss at home since 2000.
Don't go back there.
Yeah,
don't make me revisit that.
You had a couple of those, but you got to go back to 2003 to find a double-digit blowout loss. They've had some ugly ones there, losing to Oakland Raiders and Bruce Gradkowski and some bizarre ones, but this one where the seats were empty in the fourth quarter, you just don't see that too often.
This was the worst loss to me since I've been out of football.
Wow.
And looking back at the performance of a team, you had so many things going for you coming into this game. You had your star quarterback coming back to the lineup. You had an emotional victory the last week against your most hated division rival. You have playoff implications on the line. You're playing in Heinz Field, and that was just a complete dud. I had no rebuttal for anyone who gave me a text message or a call yesterday. You got it. You got it. Whatever you want to say, you got it for this week.
When for you to have no rebuttal, that surely is a sign of perhaps the apocalypse. But, this team, like you said, last week everybody thought, you get Charlie Batch to come up with a huge win for you on the road. I mean, he and Ben are hugging on the sideline.
Yeah.
And we were comparing it a little bit to the 2005 season, your first Super Bowl championship, when at the end of the year in December, your team got hot. Why was this team not able to carry that forward? And, you hear so many guys talking about after the game, enthusiasm was down, intensity was down. That's tough. That's stuff for fans to really handle.
Right. And when you look at the schedule, coming into this game, the Chargers were 4-8. They had, I think, lost their last 7 out of 8. They're talking about getting rid of their coach. Phillip Rivers is done. Everyone's talking about this team. They're still going to get up when they come and play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Any team in the league who comes into Heinz Field and feels like they can get a victory there, that's saying something for their season. You can see that they were way more prepared to play this football game against the Pittsburgh Steelers than the Pittsburgh Steelers were to play them. And the enthusiasm level wasn't there for Pittsburgh. You heard a lot of players talking about that, but why? You are a professional football player. You're expected to come in and week out and perform at the highest level and be excited about playing your opponent. And the Pittsburgh Steelers this year seem to take for granted that week in and week out, every team that plays against them is going to be up. They're going to be at their highest level, charged up from the battery, ready to go against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, that's because the Pittsburgh Steelers have been one of the elite teams in the NFL over the past couple of years, but week in and week out, you have to come in prepared. Yesterday, the Pittsburgh Steelers were not prepared to play that football game.
Yeah, I mean, it almost seems like they're not having a lot of fun. They're not that hungry. The coaches don't have them inspired week in and week out. Those are not great signs.
Right, but why?
Yeah.
You had your star quarterback was out for the past 3 weeks. He's coming back in a home game. I may be able to give you a little bit if he's going on the road, but it didn't even look like they were prepared. Ben came out in the second half and, later part of the game and started to connect on some passes, but obviously it didn't look like from the first couple of series they weren't able to move the ball offensively really effectively. Maybe he should have took a little bit of practice last week when Jason LaCanfora said that there were some players saying that, he could have practiced a little more. He would have been a little more in tune. He's been out 3 weeks. Yeah. And I don't care who you are and how much football you've played. You can see that he wasn't on point when he came out and played this game. You can't emulate the speed of a game in practice. And the only way you can try to get close to that is to have as many snaps as you can at full speed during your team periods in practice, during the week, and in the goal line periods.
Well, where are they now, Mike? They actually are in a playoff spot as we sit here today still. 3 games remaining. The AFC North is as bad as we've seen it in some time here. And all 3 of the big boys lose. Yeah,
the football gods were with the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday as you looked at Cincinnati dropping a heartbreaking loss to Dallas. And then you look at the Washington Redskins, who were able to go to beat the Baltimore Ravens in overtime yesterday. So with all that that happened yesterday. The Pittsburgh Steelers still remain in the 6th spot, but that loss is just so demoralizing to this football team, to this city, and I think the fans are kind of in disarray right now. They want to see something major happen on this football team. I don't know whether it be, getting rid of Mike Wallace, bringing in a high-priced free agent guy, defensive back in the secondary. I don't know what they want to happen, but it seems like they want some things to be shaken up.
Well, maybe beating the Cowboys and watching Jerry Jones squirm will be enough to get the tide turned. We'll see if it happens. The last road trip of the regular season coming up this Sunday. For Mike Logan, I'm Ken Laird. Steelers 365 brought to you by Eastern H2O.